Hey everybody, it's Sunday, so it's time for my mental health vlog and check-in. This has actually been a really good week. Let's see. Um, I had a couple of moments this week where I was pretty proud of myself. And the first one was, I don't remember what it was. It was one evening, either Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday evening, and I was yelling at myself like you do in your head, like, damn it, why didn't you do this? Or, ugh, you should have done this, or whatever, because you're always harder on yourself than anyone else is. And I stopped myself and I said, you know what? You didn't get that done, but you've been juggling more right now than you ever have had to in the past with work and mostly work, but with work and home and stuff. He's like, so, and I was like, so don't beat yourself up. You're doing great. Just, try and get that done later. So it was something that, my therapist has always told me, I'm too hard on myself, and that it's so easy for me to grant forgiveness and grace for other people. But as addicts, we are often in the mindset that we don't deserve forgiveness and grace. And that is something that we have to work through. And I wasn't giving myself a lot of grace. And I also wasn't acknowledging the strides that I had made, which is something my boyfriend called me on today too, not related to work, but related to the work I'm doing with my sexual anorexia. He's like, I hope you're talking about the strides and the steps and the things that you're doing in your meetings, and you're tooting your own horn and you're patting yourself on the back for all the hard work you've been doing. And I'm like, no, not really. It's like, I'll talk about some of the things that we're doing in the meetings, but I don't really talk about it as a, oh, look what I did sort of thing. And I have to look into that a little more. Like, does everyone have a hard time patting themselves on the back? Or is it just something that I'm struggling with? Because I really don't know. But I've never been a super... I will play like I'm not modest at all, which is totally a character for me. Like, I'll always brag, to my mom and my sister, I'm mom's favorite, or, of course I'm fabulous, or of course I'm, whatever. And the reality is I have way more self-doubt than you ever see when you see me on a surface level. So, something to explore for me. I am leaving tomorrow morning at the butt crack of dawn to catch a flight to go to Maine for a week for work. I'm not gonna lie, I really don't want to go. There's one person I'm looking forward to seeing, and there's a bunch of people I just don't know and I don't work with closely enough that I feel like I need to know them more than I already do. And that sounds really shitty, but it's a team building exercise. So, well, I'll go, I'll participate, I'll, do all the things I need to do. Business trips are challenging for me because they traditionally were a playground for my addict. And, the very first business trip I took after my separation from my ex, which was literally like 3 weeks after, let's see, I got out of the hospital, I moved into a new apartment, and then that weekend I had to go to Vegas for a business trip. And in typical Jordan sex addict style, I spent any free time I had that weekend acting out, or planning acting out, or trying to act out. So that was absolutely before I started my sobriety journey. And I'm much more proud of myself. I'm much more secure in my sobriety. But I still knew that I needed to make a travel plan, which is something that addicts do when their normal routine or schedule is being shuffled or changed, or traveling or anything like that. And I had planned to do so, but my boyfriend was like, "Are you going to set up a travel plan?" And my response was, "Yeah." But wow, how I reacted to that in my head was not my best. And I've started trying to rephrase things, instead of how it made me feel to how I chose to react or how I reacted, because no one can make you feel a certain way. It's how you interpret or interact or, process information that you've heard and how you choose to react to that. So rephrasing there. But I reacted in such a way where I'm like, for the first time, I feel like my boyfriend doesn't fully trust me. And he has indicated he has no reason not to trust me. I've given him no reason not to trust me. I've been very good on my sobriety, and I've communicated any challenges that I've had along the way. And that also came with a bit of shame, feeling that I was so confident in my sobriety, but the realization that I still have to do work to make sure I stay sober. So, and shame is something a lot of addicts struggle with. Not just sex addicts, addicts across the board. But shame is very high in the sex addict community. Let's see. Friday night picked up my son, and he is definitely getting to the point where he is starting to push boundaries and see what he can get away with. And for the past couple of months, I've been letting a lot of things slide, and my ex actually pointed out to me, he's like, you cannot let him slide with that. I'm not letting him slide with that. And of course we want to be on the unified front, and he is absolutely right. Some of the stuff that my son says should not, I should not handle or tolerate. We had that incident last week where I had to take some electronics away from him because of his response. And then on Friday night, one of the rules of the house is no cell phones in the bathroom, because he has historically disappeared for 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes at a time. He's in the bathroom pooping with his cell phone where I can hear YouTube playing. So we don't take the cell phone in the bathroom. Well, on Friday night, I asked him to go brush his teeth before bed. He went into the bathroom, closed the door. I'm like, okay, well, maybe he has to go to the bathroom too. No big deal. 25 minutes later, I'm like, he has a fucking phone. So I go in his bedroom to see if his phone is there. It's not. I call his phone. It immediately goes to voicemail. So I knocked on the door. I'm like, hey, buddy, if I were your cell phone, where would I be? It's in my pocket. I'm not watching it. I'm like, dude, if it were in your pocket when I just tried to call you, it would not have gone straight to voicemail after one ring. That's not how cell phones work. Well, I don't have it. I'm not watching it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you one more chance to be honest with me. And I told him that, like, I'm giving you every opportunity to be honest with me. Yes, I'm watching YouTube. Okay. So when he came out, I, told him he'd lost his cell phone in the morning and he couldn't have it until I woke up. I wake up later than he does. I wake up later than most people. And then he was upset because, but you don't get up until like 9 or 10 in the morning, and I get up at 6. I'm never gonna, I'm blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, I have a solution. He hates writing sentences, like pages of sentences. So I came up with 2 sentences. I said, all right, you have 2 options for the morning to get your phone back. I said, the first option is you can complete these sentences front and back, both pages. Wake me up as soon as you're done, and I will give you your phone. Or you can wait until I wake up in the morning and have one of these pages of sentences filled out completely front and back. So either way, he was doing sentences. And he was pissed, and he was like, meh, 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 meh. And I said, that's the ground rules for this. And he, while I was, refilling my water, he came out and grabbed the notepad that I had written the sentences on it, took it into his room, and I'm like, okay, is he gonna write his sentences tonight? And then he came out and he had scratched over the sentences and written, crap. Not the sentences, and not pleasant stuff. And I didn't even look at it, because my boyfriend's like, don't you want to see what he did? I'm like, I gave him the timeline of tomorrow morning. I'm going to wait and look at that in the morning to see if the sentences were done. I woke up in the morning, no sentences had been done. So I told him that his punishment was extending. So not only would he not get his cell phone back today, he would not have his cell phone, his laptop, or his iPad for a week. Then he tried to negotiate that, oh, well, I'll write sentences now. I'm like, great, that's perfect practice for your handwriting, but no. So that was the other opportunity where I was very proud of myself, because I need to get better at calling him on his shit. I need to be consistent when I institute a punishment. And my ex and I both know that if one of us gives a punishment, it carries over wherever my son goes. If he gets grounded at daddy's, he's grounded at papa's. If he gets grounded at papa's, he's grounded at daddy's. So I communicated with his daddy and said, this is what's going on, this is what's happened, and this is the result. And he was like, okay. So I don't want to be a bad guy all the time. I don't want my son to hate me. I don't want him to fear me, which is my biggest concern. But at the same time, I realize that I can't let him grow up to be an asshole. And I can't let him understand that I can't just let him get away with being and saying some of the stuff that he does. So I have to find that fine line. And it's not going to happen overnight. And it obviously hasn't happened over the last couple of, years, but it's something that I definitely feel like I need to work on. Let's see, had a very productive week. Had a very productive week at work. I actually was working on that big project where the business had a different vision than what I had. And so far in doing my research, I have found a pretty good trajectory to actually merge their vision with my vision and utilize all the aspects. So I'm optimistically happy about that right now, but I was very excited when I was like finding puzzle pieces that fit together. Last night, my boyfriend and I went to karaoke. We had a friend of ours join us, and we go to a bar called Neon Boots, which is a gay country western dance bar with a karaoke room. And one thing my boyfriend always talked about doing, when COVID was over, and was showing me and teaching me how to two-step and dance on the big dance floor they have there. And when COVID lifted, that's kind of about the time that he started having issues with his back and his leg, and then he was paralyzed for a while. His leg was paralyzed for a while, and then we finally danced last night, a little bit of two-step, and it was so awesome because I looked at him and I said, "You were so worried you'd never get to do this with me." And it was actually really, really nice. I picked it up. I'm not new to dance. I'm not new to rhythm and tempo, and patterns, and that's all it is. That's all dance is. So it was really awesome, and it was just really sweet that we had that moment on the dance floor. And he said, I'm more than a trained monkey or something like that, which I think meant I picked it up pretty well. I did try some new songs last night. One of them I was really excited about. The first two did not go well. Like, I sat down and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna remove this from my list. But one I really enjoyed, and I felt like I had a good night, because I enjoy singing karaoke, but it's got to be good. Like, if I'm not singing well, I'm not having fun. But when we went to leave last night, there was a big group of straight people, because they're always at the bar, that were calling my name and telling me, "No, don't leave," and that was actually kind of a good feeling. A little bit of an ego boost, I'm not gonna lie. Today my boyfriend and I went and got haircuts, and then went to the mall to get some lunch, because we were just right there. And while I was waiting for our lunch order, there was a couple next to me in line with their two kids. One was like 4, one was like 3. I mean, they look really close in age, an older girl and a younger boy. And they were just mesmerized by my hair, which I've already recolored, so it's a little bit darker now. But they were mesmerized by my hair, and then they were noticing my tattoos and stuff, and they just thought it was super, super cool. And I told them, like, you know what, kids, as you grow up, you're gonna find great ways to express yourself. And the mom was like, we talked for a little bit, and the mom was like, "I want to thank you for being authentically you, because I love when my kids get to see people who are not held back from expressing themselves." And you know, that was actually a really nice thing to hear. I don't do it for other people. I've always said I don't give a shit about what other people think, but obviously with my therapist last week, that was wrong. But it was just awesome to have her say that. I mean, they weren't. I mean, they were in their mid-20s maybe, so still they're kids themselves. But I don't know. It was really cool to have someone just randomly tell me that. So I think that's all I've got going on. Like I said, I'll be in Maine next week for work. Everything is pretty tightly scheduled, so I will be busy from the time I get there to the time I get home. So I don't expect next week's vlog to be super exciting, so just warning. But anywho, weather's been great. I hope you're having some nice weather, unless you're in Kentucky, and then I'm so sorry, Kentucky people. Y'all are just unfortunate right now. Okay, check in your friends, make sure they're doing okay. Check on your loved ones, make sure they're doing okay. You should check on your loved ones at least once a week, because you never know when they're not going to be there. And check on yourself, make sure you're doing okay. Figure out if you're saying things to yourself that you might need to rephrase to get more out of it. That made me feel, or I felt that because ... I chose to react this way to this situation. Why? And then you can start thinking about things and figuring things out. All right, guys, have a wonderful week, and I will check in with you on Sunday. Bye.